Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's dive straight into today's first story. Now, today's first story comes from Chi Chomsky, who says, "Am I the arsehole for refusing to wear a ring?" And it starts off, "My fiance, 27 female, and I, 30 male, have been together for almost 4 years. I've been engaged for a couple of months. I started to get more seriously into wedding planning and the topic of rings came up. I don't wear jewelry. I barely wear colors. I'm on the autism spectrum and don't care to draw attention to myself. I didn't think this would be such a big deal, but I never saw myself wearing a ring. My fiance has different views on the subject. I knew her ring would mean a lot to her, so I listened over the years. Spoke to her friends and her mother and knew exactly what she wanted, so I got that for her when I proposed. She loved it. Fast forward to now and she's not as happy. I explained my views on wearing jewelry and she wasn't having it. She told me that it's a symbol of our commitment and thinks I want to appear single, but nothing would be further from the truth. I absolutely adore her, but I'm very stuck in my routines. I didn't think this would be a big deal, but she won't let it go. I told her I wasn't going to wear jewelry and she lost it. She told me I'm selfish and won't talk to me. I don't get it. She knows I love her. I show her every day and she's making such a huge deal out of this. I need help. Am I the arsehole?" Now, I might get hate for this one, but this one's not the arsehole to me in the fact that I don't think you should have to wear a ring if you don't want to. Sure, it's a symbol to some people, but other people, it's an uncomfortable thing. And I'm someone that a few years back, I used to wear quite a lot of jewelry. Like, I used to wear necklaces and I used to have a bracelet as well. And after some time, I found that it was really uncomfortable and I don't wear nothing no more. And I think from my point of view, if I had a partner who said they don't want to wear a ring for whatever reason, whether it be sensory or just they didn't want to wear a ring, I think I'd be understanding of that. And for me, and this is just throwing it out there, I may even consider, like, people do tattoo ones these days, don't they? So that might be a possibility for me as well. But Chakra Mama says no one's an arsehole here. I think you two need to find a compromise here. You have a sensory issue and have trouble with change. She sees you not wearing a ring as you not being serious about your marriage. Both of you have valid needs here. Have you looked at silicone rings? Like, you could have a gold band for your ceremony if she wants that, but a silicone one for every day. Or find the most important times to her for you to wear it and see if that works. If the silicone ring doesn't feel right, maybe a henna tattoo band or a temporary tattoo. I don't recommend a permanent tattoo because I'm superstitious, and if you can't handle a ring, the itch of a healing tattoo will drive you nuts. This is very important to her, and if you can, I will try to find a way to honor it." OP responds to that saying, "This is such a thoughtful and helpful response. I can't thank you enough. I've said this elsewhere, but embarrassingly, I didn't consider alternatives during our argument, and so many here, such as yourself, have given me excellent ideas. Even if she doesn't prefer these suggestions, I think just showing her I hear her concerns and want to remedy this will help. I don't want her to feel like I'm not committed, but it just felt like she didn't understand my position. In fairness, I suck at communicating and usually hide my sensory issues. You're exactly right that I need to understand how and why this is important to her so we can find a solution. Thank you so much." And my Poncho says, "Info, you say you don't want to draw attention to yourself, but wedding rings don't really draw attention, since lots of people are married and wear them. Is there any other reason you don't want it? Have you talked about any compromise solutions? For example, a ring that's not made of metal and it's not shiny. There are rings made from carbon, for example. ETA, no one's an arsehole here then. Glad you found a solution together." And OP responded saying, "As many others commented, it's mostly sensory issues. I basically wear a uniform every day, almost identical clothing, keep my hair the exact same, etc. I can't stand the feeling of jewelry and visually find it distracting. When I have to dress differently, when my hair is blowing all over, if I have a cold sore, etc., I experience a lot of anxiety, which I'm working on with a therapist. We've since discussed alternatives and I'm about to update the post." Anxious Algae says, "As of now, no one's an arsehole here. You usually don't wear jewelry or anything flashy, which is in part influenced by your autism, so I get where you thought it'd be implied you won't wear your wedding band and she'd understand. However, wedding ring is a symbolic piece of jewelry that holds deeper social connotations. Many people who don't wear their ring do in fact to appear single. Many of course have other valid reasons, so it's understandable she's upset. A compromise would be for you to try wearing your ring, but if it turns out it's unfeasible for you because of your autism, then she should be able to understand it and appreciate your effort. Don't Speak Softly says, I'm also autistic and newly married, and I think you're not the arsehole. I never wear jewelry, and especially not rings, because the feeling of jewelry on my body is just too much. It's distracting to me to the point of painful. Rings get caught on my clothes and hair, and I hate how I can constantly feel them. My husband and I are having similar conversations, where his feelings are a little hurt that I don't wear my ring more. He's also autistic though, so he gets the sensory issues. What I've been doing is keeping my ring off when I'm at home all day. I have a special place to put it in my nightstand, and I wear it in the afternoon when he gets home from work or if I'm going out. I get how wearing a ring feels awful. I also care about my spouse and don't want my actions to cause them pain. Is there some kind of compromise that you two could find? Could you put your ring on a necklace? Is there a different ring material that would work better for you for more frequent wear? And one more from Work in Ostrich, who says no one's an arsehole here. This is a tough situation, I get where you're coming from. The only thing I wear is my earpods/hearing aids, my watch, which is linked to my phone so I can feel it go off, I leave it around, and my bracelet, which is my engagement ring. I can understand where you're coming from, having a diagnosis myself. We have our routines and subroutines, and we rely on our routines so we can deal with situations around us. It's what we don't have routines for that screw us over for days and weeks. She isn't wrong for wanting to wear a ring. It's her tradition, and she's going to have to give you some room for your routines as you will have to for hers. Now, have you tried to train yourself to additional stimuli, i.e. get a ring of the same size and weight as your wedding ring and wear it for 5 seconds until you feel comfortable with it, then give yourself a reward, and then to 10 seconds and keep doubling it until it's no longer strange or horrible. It's also worth trying to suggest this to your soon-to-be wife. I had to do the same thing. It took some time, but it took me a few months. It may take you a lot longer, but at least give it a try. An OP responds saying, this is such a thoughtful and compassionate response, thank you. I love that you didn't say you should have, but gently suggested a helpful option. I suspect she doesn't understand why I feel the way I do, and I probably didn't explain it clearly enough. We certainly have more talking to do, but generally we communicate pretty well. This is partially why this caught me so off guard and she got so upset. I think part of it is that she got so upset and didn't consider why I feel the way I do. I think I got defensive and dug in. Maybe I can condition myself to accept it. At the moment, it just felt like she wasn't considering how I felt, let alone offering to accommodate me remotely as much as what you suggested, and I feel I've been through this whole process. Thank you again. So then, OP went on to update the post, which says, update. I apologize to my fiancé for my reaction and for not considering why she felt the way she does, and we had a long talk. Previously, I really didn't understand why this was such an issue to her, but that shouldn't have mattered. The fact is, this is important to her, and I care about how she feels. I try to explain why I'm so opposed to this, and I think she mostly gets it. She knows I struggle with these sorts of things, but really do try to work on these issues and don't use them as excuses. I brought up many of the wonderful suggestions you all have made, and I think we'll be able to figure out a good compromise. What we're leaning towards now is having a ring to wear for the wedding, family events, etc. I'm already so uncomfortable in those situations, so it doesn't really matter. And I'm thinking about a tattoo on the underside of my finger, so I have that permanent symbol without the sensory problems or visual distraction. Thank you all so much for the input and helping me to better understand this so it doesn't cause a rift in an otherwise wonderful relationship with the absolutely most incredible woman I've ever met. I truly appreciate you all taking the time and offering insight. It means so much to me. And I'm glad that their relationship wasn't damaged and they were able to come up with some sort of compromise for their relationship. I gotta say, I'm still on the same side of the fence with it. I still feel like it was a not the arsehole to begin with. And I wasn't saying like totally disregard her feelings about the whole matter or anything like that, because I don't feel that way and I think discussion is always the best way forward. But I just feel like if, you don't want to wear a ring, then I don't really see an issue with it. But I know this is going to be very, very different for many people. So you just have to let me know your feelings on this one and how you feel about the situation in this. And we'll move on to another story. And our next story is titled, Am I the Arsehole for wanting my husband to start paying more for our housing? Hi all, for reference, I am 29 female and my husband is 30 male. We've been together since I was 20 and got married when I was 26. When we moved in together when I was 25, we were splitting our rent evenly. I was making 65k and he was making 80k, and we live in a large US city. It didn't really make a huge difference in my budget versus his to split rent 50-50 for $2,600 a month rent. However, things have changed. I got pregnant a few months after we got married, which we were so happy about and wanted. I didn't want to not work, but I wanted to be home with our baby, so I found a full-time remote job in my field of work. The downside is I took a cut to my salary from 65k to 50k. We continued to split rent in our apartment. My husband, between being 26 and 30, has received a number of raises and has switched his job. He is now a senior business analyst, making roughly 195k a year. Since we're having a child, we were going to need a bigger apartment. We found a 3-bedroom for $4,000 per month. He still wanted to split the rent evenly despite my protests, and despite me wanting to try to find a smaller apartment for less. In the end, I sort of let myself get walked over because he really is such a smooth talker and I do love him. Anyway, flash forward 2.5 years and our rent has increased to $4,400. My take-home pay monthly after taxes is roughly $3,600. I'm paying $2.2k monthly in rent. I'm also taking care of our baby and our home, doing chores and cooking daily. My husband works from 8 to 6, but typically doesn't get home until 7. I'm burnt out. I barely have enough money per month to do the things I enjoy. I feel like I am financially struggling while my husband is living a life of luxury. Yes, he does take me out on dates and on vacation, but he doesn't seem to understand that this is not enough for me. I spoke to him 2 days ago very seriously. When I asked about trying to split rent based on our income and pay an equal percentage of our income so that's more fair and fully equal, his reaction stunned me. He asked me why having 1.6k extra a month wasn't enough for me. I told him I'm not saving anything. He told me I should spend less on extracurricular activities, which makes me laugh because what extracurricular activities? All I do is work, cook, clean, shop for the house and raise our child. I told him I am basically working 2 full-time jobs at once and I need help. Then he asked me if I am suggesting he pay me for being a mother, and that stunned me. I really had no response to that. Anyway, he told me that this is the lifestyle we agreed when we moved in together way back when. However, he doesn't seem to understand, or rather does not want to understand. Now he is mad with me because he thinks I am being selfish and has been acting cold to me these past few days. I'm getting the itch to apologize and take it back like I always do. But I really feel I am right here. Am I the arsehole? And we do have an edit and an update to this post as well. But we'll start off with Jason Samu, who says, not the arsehole. Married people with children who keep separate bank accounts and argue about who pays for what are weird. You are not roommates. OP replies saying, that is exactly what I'm trying to say. Not to mention he is the sole beneficiary of his millionaire parents. I came from poverty and worked to get where I am. I do try to keep that out of the arguments though, as this is his business and not ours. I just want to make it clear that I am no gold digger here. I did choose to work, but it also makes me wonder that if I didn't work, if it helped me at all. A deleted user says, not the arsehole. This is a strange financial situation. You are married and in a partnership. Your finances need to reflect that. Your hubby also needs to be way more flexible. Are you going to live your whole lives together by a set of rules agreed when you were 20? Is that how he still expects you to live at 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80? I'm assuming when you made this agreement, you hadn't factored your kids in. You guys need to sit down and work out a joint budget and start using joint accounts. OP says, yes, we made this agreement when we were making similar incomes, didn't have kids, and weren't married. Also, he wasn't paying his half of the rent when we lived together as a young couple. His parents were, to help him build savings. Uberface says, not the arsehole, but it sure sounds like he is. I have to say the segregation of money is not working for you all. If you want to do it the fair way while not combining finances, then do it by percentage of income. But the fact that you can't both sit down and discuss this calmly is very troubling. Marriage is a team endeavor and the two of you are each playing solo. OP replies saying, trust me, I've tried to explain this to him, but then he goes off about gold digging and how just because he will have millions in inheritance doesn't mean that I shouldn't work for what I have. I agree on working for what I have. I always have done so. I came from poverty where my parents made nearly $30,000 a year for 4 kids in New York State, Long Island. Not easy. But he does not seem to get that we cannot live up to his lifestyle if he wants to be this way. Anchovy Mac and Cheese says, "What? Not the arsehole, and at this point I seriously hope you consider a marriage counsellor. It seems that your husband views you as less like a partner and more like a roommate willing to bear his children and clean up after him. There is no reason he should be forcing the mother of his child, who both works and stays at home full time to care for his baby, to pay half the expenses when he makes 3 times more. This is the life you signed up for, is a terrible justification, because you are at a very different place when you met versus now. How much longer are you willing to be the doormat while he lives and spends lavishly without consideration to your efforts or your child?" And OP said, "Honestly, I'm at my breaking point." So then OP went on to edit the post, which says, "Edit, thank you for all your responses. I can honestly say that I did not expect to get this feedback. I'm honestly overwhelmed and I cannot reply to all of you, especially while I am working, but I wanted to update some things here. I love my husband with all my heart, and it is heartbreaking for me to read these comments and realize that I'm being taken advantage of. I need to figure out the best way to approach the issue and solve it before it gets too far. I want to work this out, and the fear of being alone is haunting me. Yes, I did sign a prenup that was overseen by his family attorney. My husband comes from extreme wealth, and I was young and stupid and went with it. Head over heels like my mother always said I was. As for his family, we get along great and they love me. It's very confusing because they are such incredibly generous people, and they are family, but they don't know about our financial situation because my husband and I believe that our marriage is private, and I would feel like I was betraying him by telling them. I'm sorry I cannot reply to all of you, but please know I'm reading all of the comments and making a plan to approach with them." Edit 2. For those talking about the dates and vacation bits that he pays for, I've asked him numerous times to help lighten my financial load instead of going on these trips and dates, and he refused. He said he can do what he wants with his money, and if he wants to take us on vacation, that is what he will pay for. If I could afford vacation, I would pay. In fact, when we're in a more even financial situation, unmarried and not kids, I paid for almost all of our vacations and dates because I love to treat people, and I can't do that anymore. Edit 3. I also do not have bad spending habits. I worked my way out of student loan debt in 2 years after graduating. I saved $60,000 by the time we got married, and I have that all in my retirement, which I am thankful for because I can no longer contribute to it. This has nothing to do with how I spend. I'm actually pretty frugal when it comes to shopping, especially since I prefer to keep things cheap for my budget." Then OP updated the post, which says, "I sincerely apologize for taking so long to return to Reddit and write an update to this. A lot has happened since. For those who don't know, this post was originally written at the end of February of 2020. The world therefore after fell apart. Things were not good with me and my husband at the time of this post. I want to preface this by saying that we are still together to this day, and we've welcomed a new child to the world, this time in a much healthier environment. COVID changed a lot for me. Along with the intense virality of the last post, neither my husband or I got laid off or furloughed, and we were and so thankful. But my husband moved to work from home. That perspective shift changed a lot for him. When he said that I had to deal with the day-to-day things, I could never properly communicate about how difficult it was to work while raising a child and what I brought to the table that he could never see. Despite his newfound appreciation for me, I still found myself resenting him. It was in June that I finally proposed that we go to couples counseling, after doing my own virtual therapy session since March. From what I had learned about why I let people step over me based on my childhood and past and how to overcome that. To my surprise, my husband agreed, and so we've been in weekly counseling since. Even to this day, it helped him get to the root of his fears and address where he has trouble trusting me financially, which had less to do with me and more to do with what he brought up believing and had been instilled with. After coming to the point of telling him I wouldn't want to continue building a family or life with him, where he watched me struggle from luxury, with the help of our amazing counselor who guided us, my husband was willing to adjust our lifestyle to be more equal. I'm not saying everything was or is magically perfect. I know people wanted an update where I left my evil husband and took my baby to start a new life, but I did marry this man for a reason. I saw the good, and past this struggle we've had to overcome, he's become the man I knew I'd married. We now have a joint bank account as well as our own on the side. We each put 2/3 of our income into the shared account and get to keep 1/3 for ourselves. I'm in a new job now and making much more money than in the original post. Not that this affects the relationship, but so people know my third is enough for me to enjoy. It's still a road to recovery, but we have more trust between us and are no longer living a 50-50 lifestyle. Again, I'm sorry for not updating sooner, but the past few years have been a lot for us and everyone. Thank you all for your support and advice. I promise I wouldn't be sitting here typing this without it. And now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? There's a lot of comments that still weren't happy with that update, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And now just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, support and time, as always, means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for getting involved. You're truly amazing, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today